안녕하세요. Hi everyone. This is Morning. Today I'm here to tell you 5 things I wish you knew before learning Korean. If you watch this video before you start learning Korean, it will be helpful and easier on your Korean journey. So please stay tuned until the end. Number 1. Don't learn informal or very formal language at first. The Korean language has 7 speech levels, and normally we use 3 levels, which are 2 formal languages and 1 informal language. Formal language is called 존댓말 in Korean, and informal language is called 반말. And 존댓말, formal language, has typically 2 types, 요 and 니다. You can ask me what is the difference between 요 and 니다. Compared to them, 요 form is used in daily or casual situation, but 니다 form is used in more formal situations like presentation, military, news broadcasting. Also, 반말, informal language, is used to very close people like close friends or family. If you're thinking about which type you have to learn first, I highly recommend you to learn 요 form first. Because when Korean people meet somebody and talk to them for the first time, we usually use 요 form. When I meet foreign students and talk to them, some students used 반말 at first. They said they watched K-drama and learned 반말. But I don't recommend using 반말 at first because it might seem rude to Korean people. I also have a friend who is 2 years older than me. We've known each other since 5 years ago, but I still use 존댓말. Like this, 반말 is used only with very close people. And some students use a very formal form, 니다, at first. You can use 니다 form and it's not wrong, but if you use it, it can create such a heavy and formal atmosphere like a job interview. So, in other words, I recommend learning 요 form at first, and after you get used to them, you can learn other forms like 니다 or 반말. Number 2. The Korean language always needs markers. Unlike English, Korean always have a marker after subject, object, time, and place word. This is because Korean distinguishes which is the subject and which is the object depending on the marker. For example, Mina likes milk. In Korean, we say 미나가 우유를 좋아해요. When you see after 미나 and 우유, there is a marker, 가 and 을. 가 is subject marker, 을 is the object marker. So even if I switch the word order, there is no problem understanding the meaning. 우유를 미나가 좋아해요. 좋아해요, 미나가 우유를. All means Mina likes milk because of the marker. If you decide to learn Korean, please study markers and practice many times. If you don't use proper markers or skip them, it's sometimes hard to understand what you say and feel unnatural. If you change the markers of 미나가 우유를 좋아해요 into 미나를 우유가 좋아해요, even they have same word order, but 미나를 우유가 좋아해요 means milk likes Mina. So it's completely different. Therefore, spend more time studying and practicing these types of markers for your good communication. Number 3, Korean people don't say you. If you search for word you in Korean dictionary, you can see there are various words like 당신, 너, 그대. But when Korean people speak in real life, we don't use these words, especially in 존댓말. Then, what word can you use when you want to say you? If you know the person's name, you can call name plus 씨. If someone's name is 민수, you can call 민수 씨. And if someone's name is 지민, you can call 지민 씨. But if you don't know the name, you can just talk without using you. Because it related to Korean grammar, if the subject or object is inferred from the context by listener and speaker, it can be omitted. For example, if you look at the sentence I love you, English uses the subject I and object you, but in Korean, just we say 사랑해요. You don't need to say I and you. So you can talk to somebody enough without using you. Do you study? 공부해요? You're pretty. 예뻐요. You can make sentences using only verbs in Korean. However, in 반말 informal speech, you is called 너. But when you start learning Korean, you don't use 반말 for the first time, and 너 is only used for a close friend who is the same age. So please keep in mind that you is not usually used in Korean. Number 4. The word order of statement and question sentence is same in Korean. If you make I study Korean into a question in English, it's do you study Korean? The word order has to be changed. But in Korean, statements and question have the same word order. For example, 한국어를 공부해요 means I study Korean. But 한국어를 공부해요 means do you study Korean? Compared to both sentences, you don't need to rearrange the word for asking a question. To make a question, just put a question marker and make a rising intonation at the end of the sentence. Also, if you don't make a rising intonation, it can be easily confused with a statement. So please rise at the end of the sentence. Let's see more example. 머리가 아파요. I have a headache. 머리가 아파요? Do you have a headache? 집에 갔어요. I went home. 집에 갔어요? Did you go home? 사과를 먹어요. I eat apples. 사과를 먹어요? Do you eat apples? Please keep in mind that you rise intonation at the end of the sentence. And last, number 5. If you want to speak Korean naturally, watch talk shows or YouTube rather than movies or dramas. Do you watch a lot of Korean dramas or movies to study Korean? Many students are studying Korean while watching movies or drama. And of course, it's helpful for listening and speaking Korean. However, when native Korean speakers watch them, they have quite awkward and exaggerated expressions which are not natural in real life. Because movie or drama actors need to exaggerate their expressions or gestures to deliver their lines and emotions easier. Therefore, if you want to learn Korean that natives actually use, I recommend watching talk shows or YouTube videos rather than movies or dramas. If you watch Korean talk shows, you can easily access natural words or expressions that you actually use because they don't act and they just talk. You can search Korean talk shows on Netflix and find various programs and try watching anything you like. These days, I like to watch 연애의 참견, which is one of Korean talk shows. And YouTube videos are so helpful because people just naturally talk about something on the video. So you can learn the expressions that Koreans use often. If you watch the videos you're interested in, you can enjoy and learn natural expressions. But once again, this is a tip for those who want to speak Korean naturally. So if you're a beginner or want to be interested in Korean or drama lover, you can enjoy watching Korean dramas. So today, I talked about 5 things I wish you knew before learning Korean. I hope this video will help you learn Korean, and I will prepare and bring various useful Korean videos. So please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions or anything you want to learn, please leave your comments down below. Then I'll do my best to answer them. I'll be back soon with useful videos, so see you next time. Bye!